How are we doing? There is a lot of overwhelming interest in my Diaspora series. And there's something that I've remembered. Eh? You know, when you are, wherever you are, and you travel, it's in migration theories. I wouldn't say it was in a bad way or in a good way. But when you have arrived here and you connect to the people who you knew way back home, you know they give you a cold shoulder. Hey! But while you are there and you are apart, they seem to be part of you. But when I arrived here in 2000, I tried to be in touch with one of my cousin sisters. I went to visit her. I don't know what she thought about my coming to the UK. Because probably she thought I was broke or I was here to whatever. She gave me a very, very bad cold shoulder. I was hosted at her place for 2 days. And then her attitude she gave me was like, kanchogere mu Luganda, kyengezeko bagamba nti omuntu nga mulala nti Bulaya nzibu bintu byantu ojja bisobola. I didn't come here to beg. I was here on a visit. And ever since then up to date, we didn't connect. She's here. This is what I'm telling you. Family member. So, kyengezeko bagamba nti it's a very tough call. Nti yali yakamala kuno emyaka about 5, 6, 7 years. Nga afunye bbaawe, bazadde abaana balina n'obulema whatever binga biwanvu. Of course, ebyo byonna biri part of life. Sirina kizibu kyonna ku muntu yenna, naye engeri gye yampisaamu n'abanga kati kyeŋŋamba all the time, nagala mumpulirize nti abantu b'otuukiramu wano baditamininga ebintu bingi nnyo. Bw'otuukira mu bantu nga bali bwe batyo, era that is the direction you're going to take. Bw'otuukira mu bantu bwe bati nze naye najja kuno kukyala n'enzirayo. Naye waliwo abantu be nina contactinga mu YMCA nga ndi wano bampa impression ennungi nnyo ku by'okusoma era bye naliko, be bantambuza ne mu university. Naye Keguso yagala nnyo okusoma, tugendeko mu university. Kati back then most of the universities were transitioning into attracting overseas students. Mwe temulabye ku bintu bino, temubirabyeko. But before that, education was more of a privilege. Nga ekintu ky'okuba overseas student, unless you're on scholarship, unless you've won a bursary or something, bizibu nnyo. It wasn't very, very easy to come and study in the UK or even other countries. Nga balina exclusivity on education. So, ffe tutandika ekintu ekyo. Yes. Ffe tutandika ekintu ekyo by 2000. I think because they were being given the chance to go private. Most universities now were bagitanga charter. They were being given charters, which meant that they could attract overseas students to come and study here. That is all about money now. Twogera sente. Yes. But realizing that no, sente jeziri. Maya wazungu bagezi. But realizing that sente jeziri ate mbafirika. Bagala nnyo okusoma generation kati eyaffe post colonial, abazadde basomera ku bintu by'abaminsane, kati ffe baana. Kati, that is how I find myself really seeing different things from different angles. Nengamba nti nja kukomawo nsome ate nga nalina kiri kyembagamba all the time nti mama wange yali akintaddemu nnyo ekyokusomera e UK. Era had she been around, she would have sponsored me to come here. Munfuna bulungi nnyo. Nali wakugirawo naye lwakuba kati mama wange yalwala. When my mom took ill, it changed everything. So I was left on my own accord. My own accord to do what pretty much. But it was a dream. It was my mom's dream, and then I lived it out for her. But what I was trying to tell you, nti abantu betu associating nabo oluusi ba influencing ebintu byetugendamu. Yes, it is a true story. True story. Era okumanya nalaba nti muntu yali wa ttima nnyo naye nga twali tukuze ffenna. Nga tukuze ffenna sobola bawa details zisukkakaawo naye nga bwengabo embagamba ebya famire bwe bibeera bifaanana. Kazi nesujui mukulira wamu. Naye temumanya bwe mutuuka okukula ng'abantu balina emitima emibi. Ate my success was much more beyond everybody's expectations. Oga, what up? You okay? I'll see you later. Eh? Yeah, so ati abantu beewunya nnyo nti kegusaze London. Nalina ssente zange era neŋŋamba nti kanzireyo Uganda ndikomawo. Long behold, that is when the university sends me an admission letter at the embassy as a prospective student enrolled. It was very much interested. You know, you're in Uganda and then a message comes through to you from the embassy, British High Commission. I go there, they tell me, you need to go for your visa. I was like, really? Yes. And then I came. But of course, I was paying for myself. It wasn't for free. But I had the money. So that is how those who would want to know more how Kegus ends up returning to study in the UK. I didn't come on a whim. I didn't come on a freebie. No. I didn't have those. Most people say, how can you take all your money and waste it in education? How can you take your money and spend it? What did I want? What did I want to do with my money? It was my own choice. I could have done anything I wanted. I keep repeating myself. I had already done everything. So, we are doing the Diaspora series. We are in 2006. That is going to be my second year now since I've returned. And a lot is going on. I'm pretty much picking up everything. I'm getting absorbed into the fact that I'm going to be here for a long show. It's not a very easy decision to arrive at. Sichangu, I'll be honest with you, it is not an easy decision because that now meant putting in mind that you're not going to be in touch with so many people. You're leaving so much behind and you're losing so much as well. Because me, I lost a lot. Disbanding my company. Already that was, something that would question a lot of people and their reasoning. They would say, why? That's why I had maintained my returning every December 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, hoping that I could still work things in between. But eventually, it didn't work the way it should work. You know the story already. So 2005, I am back now 2006, after Christmas. We are beginning a new year. What is going to change in 2006? So, and because I didn't know much, I wasn't in the know that. And remember, I was young. I was, finding my place. So, London is a very big place. 25 miles radius, F46M25, London. So you have north, you have south, east, west. Limu east. Kakati uli muna Uganda yenna. East London ye yali focal point. The nerve center of Ugandans as migrants centered around Forest Gate, Upton Lane. It would be unthinkable walking along Upton Lane. I mean, Upton Lane is a road. That is where many businesses, many shops, you would find the who's who. And the nerve center was Pascal's shop. Mufuna bulungi nnyo. Awo ngenda kubeerawo nnyo awo, ngenda bbawaawo bingi nnyo ebyali ewa Pascal. So Pascal is going to play a very pivotal role in connecting and linking Ugandans in the community. It was a shop, let me explain to you, Pasco Exotic, and it was selling Ugandan food, Ugandan products, anything to do with Uganda. Naye kisinga ddala ekyasooka nkuweereza sente, remittances. Remitting money back home was a very, very big problem for Ugandans. Remember, the generation I told you we found here, the Nkuba Cheyos, abaali bazze wano okukola, which labeled us nti ba Nkuba Cheyo. But now our generation is in place. Tuli wano tusoma, tuli wano tukola. Naye nga tetulina so much ties zino zikusika mabega. But that was a double whammy. Let's call it a double whammy. Nti it became a melting point. Wagendanga nosanga bannayuganda asaba nkulamusiza hakati tutandikira wansi ku muzikiti. There's a mosque towards the end of Upton Lane. Walingawo Rakim yali saluni nga salanville. Rakim alina relation oba brother wa Sylvia Ori. He was a very, very good friend of mine. Nga wenkasibira. Then you come along, waliwo East African restaurant. Yasara amini. Kakati ya restaurant nyine wali college yange. College yange yali above the restaurant. Eyo muyindi wetandikira. Kakati oyo muyindi nga mukwano gwange. Kati ngenda babulira nga bwe yanyambanga okukola paperwork w'abaana abajjanga wano okusoma. Nze nayamba abaana bangi nnyo wano okujja okusoma student visa. Bayitirivu nnyo. That is why I'm very famous. Ngatemba yamba buyambi. Of course, omuyindi yali afunamu kati olwo colleges zizze behind universities. Kati in terms of visa, sponsorship and everything, the universities were making a killing. Overseas students bayiika wano. Kati ne wajjawo mushroomed colleges were mushroominga everywhere. So Stratford College oyo muyindi kalina ka office abatamanyi nze ndi wansi ngendanga nnyo mu restaurant ya Sarah Amin. Of course it is synonymous with being closed. Remember that scandal yaliwo basangamo the environmental officers bazze ku inspection ne basangamo ebizidu ebyenje emmese ebyani byonna not fit for whatever, for public whatever. Yali, many ebintu byawano, the things are originally blown out of proportion. But that would eventually lead to its what? Closure. Omuyindi muwa amagezi, college egaziwa, tuleeta abaana naye ng'abaana tebasoma, babeerangawo bezikola bukozi paperwork. Naye nze nali nsoma nga college of computing. In fact katono nnyo ape n'omulimu naye baagwa mukwano gwange namugamba baagwali to would have meant me being committed on one place, naye yali ayagala kumpa mulimu nsomese IT. Hey, banyumiza London. That is 2006 kegusa ali everywhere. Mvuga parking motoka yange awo ku Upton Lane nengenda Pascal awo. Ndi smart. Ay. Guys, zikamba bulire. Ndi mutamanyi bingi. Tuli mu 2006. Club 19 yali ekyabba. Kati Sengo, from what I know, what most people didn't know, waliwo gye bayitanga Africa Refugee Forum. I think those are the words. Kacharite, kati pub wano weri. Waliwo pub eri awo after the church. Waggulu awo nga walika office. Abantu nga bakerawo ku makya ennyo babakolere story. Let me tell you. Bye mutamanyi bingi. Kati olwo Sengo nga yalinga connecting factor mu community. Kubanga abantu tebamanyi ebintu bya wano. People they didn't know. Kati bana ba pioneer abaaliwo bakifunamu. Waliwo ne lawyer omulala omusajja amuyitanga Kirunda. Nga alisijju yali Dagnamu eyo. Naye yayamba nnyo bannayuganda. Kuba firingira empapula. Munfuna bulungi nnyo. Emboozi mpanvu mwe temumanyi bintu bino. Kakati ne gundi so nga bw'oba waakajja London, for whatever reason you were in London, ng'olina okukola pit stop ogendeko Upton Lane, you would find Ugandans along the street. Bali awo banyumya nga babeera e Kampala, gundi yazze. Kati waaliwo opportunity nyingi nnyo ate ekola ssente. Accommodation. Mugamba bed space ye Dubai. Na wano byaliwo. Bed space. That is my generation I'm talking about. Kati byanjawulo. Ne wano bed space twagirina. Kyentegeeza nti nga mupangisa ennyumba abayindi bakikolamu nnyo ssente kubanga bwe balina address. Okiraba? Kati awo obuyumba bonna amaduuka gali ku Upton Lane agasinga waggulu nga waliyo accommodation. Okiraba bw'oyitangamu wakati n'oyambuka waggulu. Kati bwe mulaba awali Richmond azze luvannyuma. Richmond yalinga wansi eri naffe. Wano wali Richmond Saloon. Similar. I don't know which year Richmond came. Simani mahabuya he was always around. Kakati bebiseera bya live and net leave. Abinana bya jandaba. Live and net leave. It was a pub. Then it was closed. I don't know whatever reason why it was closed, but it was closed. Kati. So much was happening in Forest Gate, centering around the Ugandan community. Tufunye wali Victoria Tavern, Kamiofu, waliwo pub awo gye bayitanga ya Kamiofu. Ne weyongera eri maaso ngadde gundi one steady waliwo pub y'omu Nigeria nayo bannayuganda nayo nabagyefuga. So the action of activity, beehive. Naye kati kyali bwe kiti nti walabanga abantu bambi nga buli omu anoonya weyeekwata. Hello, hi. I'll see you inside. Okay. You're just coming, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mukwano gwange Gloria. So kakati ng'olaba abantu bambi abamu tumanyi nange gye bazzeemu, abalala abekyayiya, abalala nga bali I will give you that picture. It was at some point very sympathetic. Abantu babonaabonera ku Bulaaya kuno around that time. Yes. Kati eventually ebijja bikyuka later on, we shall get there. Byajja bikyuka mpola mpola. Abamu batandise obbaddamu. Waaliwo n'ekiddo ekiyoola bantu ne babattika ku nnyonyi. Kati Forest Gate eyo gijjukeko ekintu kimu. Nga nkyali Uganda. Anti wange, mukulu wa mama wange, yali yajjadde London wano. Naye n'afa, yafiira wano, yafa mu 96, 97. Naye nga nzijukira ebbaluwa ze yawandiikanga, address near Forest Gate. So I was a bit on the curiosity side. Naye bo bwe baasooka mu Forest Gate mu 90s ne bakyakala nnyo omukyakalo gwali gw'amaanyi mu 90s. Era gwayoola abantu bangi nnyo, abantu balwala. Kankiyitewo entyo. Byebyaliwo bye baalingamu, okiraba. Kati this is the ugly side of migration. Nti especially kakati abalugwamu, the vulnerable, katugamba abantu who face the wrath of something, bajja kuba bakazi. Kasita bakyakala ekiwanvu ennyo, ayita byonna byonna, ate nga ekiyoola abantu kyamaanyi. People hide, ne beekweka, tebaagala kufuna bujjanjabi. So that's the ugly side of things. Kyeŋŋamba kiraba n'abasajja nabo ne bafuka balujuuju, bannayuganda nga tubasanga ku makubo nga bali homeless, boononekedde kuno myenge, kiraba. Naye tebabyogerako. People don't talk about those things. Mbyogerako kubanga nabiraba. So I'm not talking about things that are not there. So it was both sides. Kati natandika obbiraba mu 2006, the Forest Gate. But to date, 20 years later, if you go to Forest Gate, you wouldn't find Ugandans there on the streets and everything. No. People have moved on, people have died, people are old now, bali mu supported living. Bitabe na byonna. Wakati at the end of the day, bwe baafuna empapula abasinga nga ziri useless. Ongo obutuuze buli useless, mpapula. The dream is gone. Kiraba kakati kitali kufa generation eyaffe. Kakati nze Kegosi ne bwe nafuna empapula, I was good to go. Na qualification zange, na resume, na CV, na buli kimu. Kiraba, that is it. Era kyali kyennaku nnyo okulaba. It was always a very, very sad state to watch the dissemination of a culture of people. Kiraba, you've come with your dreams and they fade away. Amanya mangi nnyo. Sisogera ebintu bitaliiyo. There are a lot of names I can give you. Bannayuganda abatambulaga nga banywa omwenge, batamba nagwo mu musawo. Even to date kwebali naye kiri disguised, but ffe byetwalabako abaana ab'obuwala nga bali mu biwanvu. So this story is about me, but it's also about what was around me. Kiraba, what was going on. Tuli Upton Lane, Forest Gate. Kakati Pascal oyo golaba oyo. Kati back in the day, tuli mu 2006, communication naye yali big problem. Communication, kyeŋŋamba nti empuliziganya, oluusi yakwata message, oluusi yalina essimu awo, gojo. I'm telling you, man, you people, if all of you remember 2 years ago when Pascal died. Abantu bonna abajja ku tea cribs. Remember the overwhelming grief. Pascal yandifudde ku myaka gino. Yandikaddiye n'alaba the aftermath of what really he did for the community. Naye ebintu byamutabukako. And I can tell that story again and again. Kubanga nzinabeeranga ne Pascal mu dduuka. Era bwe nali naakajja ku Bulaaya kuno mu 2000 nagendawo ku dduuka eryo nga baliyita Mugalu. Ida Pascal. I've never told this story.
Wow, we already got some fans though.
Y'omu ku bavubuka nga yali yakajja naye kubanga mu story yabaga byajja mu 96, 97. Yeah. So he was still a novice. Naye ng'edduuka balita lya Mugalu ng'akolawo obukozi. Ne tukiriikinga kyali ki. Nga bwe ndaba omuvubuka mu dduuka eryo, it was reminding me also of my shops in Uganda. Kubanga nze nalina amaduuka kumpi 10. I had like 10 shops in Uganda. Maybe one day I'll start a business in London. But that didn't work out that way because I was so much absorbed in my studies. So I preferred to invest in myself. If somebody asks me that question, but Kegus, why didn't you open up a business in the UK? Why to agulawo dduuka? Nali nsobola oddugulawo. But I was so much in my studies. And that's a long story. Naye nga nagenda nga Pascal awo ne tunyumya nanyumiza ne mubunyumiza nange ebyange. I tell him, you know, I have a big business in Uganda. This nga neegomba olwegomba. Nakola ebintu e Uganda nalina byakola tunyumya awo. Nze namugamba nti ebyange nabitunda n'ennyumba gye nali nzimba ne mukazi wange twayawukana ne bimbulekera byonna. Nga yeewunya n'okwewunya nti yes, true story. Nze ndi wano nsoma. People were very, very dismissive about studying. They were very, very dismissive about achieving something. Nga bali more about kukola. Abantu bakolanga. Abakolanga mu biyumba kyentegeza live-in be bakazi. Very, very many long hours. Or they would go ne babeerayo for like 4-5 months olabirira mukadde. Abasajja bali mu zi warehouse bayimirira olunaku lulamba ebigere bizimba. Zina nakolako mu warehouse nenkola security. Naye nga just the curiosity. Ndabe ebintu eboogerako bifaanana bitya. Nenkolako mu post office. Parcel Force West Ham awo. Yeah, West Ham. Waliwo depot nene nnyo. It was a very, very big depot. Nga tusortinga tupikinga amabaluwa. Kati okuyingira mu keya nga n'omuwala omuzimbabwe gwenjagala. Kati mbanyumiza mboozi. Ate ne maana enjagala of Nigeria, Cheryl. If Cheryl was still in the UK, I would be married to her. Well, Cheryl yanjagala nange nemwagala. Naye salaako muwala ali so much articulate ng'oyo. She was so sweet. Cheryl yaddayo. She was doing her masters here and returned. She works in a bank. She got a job in the bank and returned. I think she was working for the bank. The bank was sponsoring her to come here. Nigeria, she returned. So, kati ntandika okugazya networks and the people who were much more on my side were in the line of education. That is going to shape my direction going forward. ati kyova kati abantu bagenda bambuuza naye Kegusi, you don't look like bannabulaya abasinga betumanyi. You don't come across like you don't fit the typical stereotype of omanyi waliwo bakyeyo bitabinaina. No, that is it. Kakati ye 2006 ntandise ne flashback ya 2001 munfunye bulungi nnyo. Enzijukizza wano ninawo abantu bange abafamile bangi ne taata wange byaleeta. My dad's brother is here. Yajja mu 1978 taata wange yamuleeta. Olwo taata wange ali mu coffee zinaalaba General Merchants agenda kugulawo offices e London wano. Business. That's how big my dad was. Kati ye n'asigala wano. Yakomako mu 88 nga ndi mu senior 1 e Busoga College Muiri. Nandabako. And that was it. N'akomawo e London. Kati nenzijukira ebbaluwa taata wange n'awandiika ebbaluwa ng'amugamba akomewo. That's when my dad was sick, because 2 years later he passes away. So my dad's business empire collapses for so many reasons. Kubanga mama wange ali muto. My mom she had this pampered status. She couldn't manage the business empire. She couldn't. And at 40, my dad wasn't expecting to fall sick. So things happened so fast. Biwanvu. Munfuna bulungi nnyo. So that is it for today. That is chapter 13. Bakubidde ki 2006 glass nyangu. But we are moving with the story. Si byangu. Bantu bafiiridde kuno. N'ebiseera byange ebyo by'abantu baafanga. Nandibadde mbawa amannya mubamanyi. Ababeeranga ku street ng'abulaye batabuseeko. Bali homeless, banywa mwenge, bakola ki, abakazi nabo nga mwebali bannayuganda. Abamu baafa dda, abalala kati mu supported, bali mu makomera. Kalale n'abanyumiza eby'abaana. We are going to come to that. Eby'abaana abazaaliddwa kuno. The ugly side. Abayi ne bejjusa n'okwejjusa ebintu bingi nnyo couples wano bannayuganda, you know. Temubimanyi. Iraba kati waliwo story ya couple ya bannayuganda. Oli yatta mukyala we, sijui yaleeta mukazi. Nga biwanvu people. Let's go.